Hey, sixth graders! I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope you all enjoyed the gorgeous weather out there. Didn't get lost in the fog on Sunday, man. It was sure foggy where I am. But today we are getting back to math. Woohoo! So we are looking again at similar figures. And today, especially, we're going to be looking at the ratios of similar figures. So there's a few things that we need to go over really quickly. The first thing that we need to remember is similar figures have corresponding angles and corresponding sides. So when we are looking at similar figures, we know that their angles are congruent and that their sides can be written in a ratio because their sides are equivalent ratios. You guys might remember me telling this to the fifth graders last chapter. The fifth graders looked at this in their ratio unit, but your book waits to talk about this until we talk more about figures, which is just completely fine. So we are looking at similar figures, and their sides have equivalent ratios. Remember, a ratio is a comparison of two numbers. So for the sides of figures to be equivalent ratios, we are looking at the sides of one figure, such as this book that I'm reading. Look at, let's say, the short side to the long side. Let's say that your math book, I guess I'd have to turn it this way, is similar to the book I'm reading. So, to find out if they were similar, to see if they truly are similar, we would need to compare their sides to see if the ratios are equivalent. So we would compare short side to long side of book A to short side to long side of book B and see if they're equivalent ratios. Remember, equivalent ratios are the same. They can either, the top and bottom, the numerator and the denominator, can either be multiplied or divided by the same number. They can either be multiplied by the least common factor or they can be divided by the greatest common factor to get the same ratio. So let's think about it. Let's say that this is 4 inches and this is 8 inches. This is 4 inches, this is 8 inches. So as a ratio, I would have 4 to 8 is the ratio of this, the sides of this book. Great book, by the way. Great book. Great author. 2, let's say this one is a ratio of 12 to 24 inches. 12 inches to 24 inches. Now I know my measurements are completely off, but just go with me here. 12 inches, 24 inches. And I said this one was 4 to 8. Now, are those congruent? 8 to 4, or 4 to 8, excuse me, and 12 to 24. Are those ratios congruent? Can those both be simplified down to the same thing? Let's think about it. Okay, 4 over 8. They can both be divided by 4. Gets 1 over 2, 1/2. Okay, 12 over 24. Those can also both be divided by 4. 3 over 6. 3 over 6. That can still be simplified to 1/2. 1/2 equals 1/2. So these are similar figures because their sides are equivalent ratios. You guys are going to be doing practice with that today on your homework. You're looking at worksheet 19.2. You should all have worksheet 19.2. Fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure you guys should all have worksheet 19.2. If you don't, let me know. But you should all have worksheet 19.2. And you'll be looking at similar figures, seeing if their sides and their angles are congruent. So what you'll need to do, set up your ratios and see if they are equivalent. Now, a few of the problems are going to ask you to tell the corresponding sides and angles. Now, what that means is it wants you to say, let's put my books, for example, again. Let's say they called this side A, this side B, or excuse me, it would go point to point. Side A to B, B to C, C to D, D to A. Again, A to B, B to C, C to D, D to A. Versus, let's say they called this one W to X, X to Y, Y to Z, Z to W. And they wanted you to give the corresponding sides. So if we looked at these two similar figures again, I'm too weak for this. This corresponding sides, remember this was A to B, would correspond to, what did I call this one? Z to W, Z to W. And then B to C would correspond with W to X. Same with the angles. This would be angle A, right here. Angle A would correspond with angle, what did I call this? Z, angle Z. So it's going to ask you to look at the corresponding sides and the corresponding angles. You'll need to label those out, and then a few of the questions will then ask you to see if the figures are similar. So you'll need to look and see if the sides are equivalent ratios. Good luck, guys. I can't wait to see you tomorrow.